Hello, my name is Jeff Stauffer, Community Relations Director with Elville and Associates, and welcome to our webinar today, our monthly wellness series titled A Celebration of Gratitude. With that in mind, we'd like to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season. And we here at Elville and Associates are grateful to you, our attendees, for making these webinars possible, and for our terrific presenters, Ms. Ellen Platt of the Option Group and Dr. Michelle Fritsch of Retirement Wellness Solutions, who put so much time and effort in putting these together for us each month. So all attendees on today's webinar will be unmuted throughout the entire presentation, so please feel free to let your voice be heard using your microphone at any time. So we want this to be as interactive as possible and allow for plenty of discussion throughout. You can also still post your feedback throughout on the questions panel on the right-hand portion of your screen, as well as on the chat feature as well. You received the presentation by email from me yesterday to take notes on it if you wish. If for some reason you did not receive the presentation, it is currently located in the section marked handouts on the right-hand portion of your screen to download at this time. Everyone will also receive a post-webinar feedback email right after the presentation, and we do ask that you take just a moment to answer a couple of questions and provide your feedback and thoughts about today's presentation, and we read and value every comment as always. Elville and Associates, here at the firm, we work every day with families, with clients, with the ideals of client education, collaboration, and compassion in mind. And we're always available for consultations to discuss your family's planning needs, and look forward to being a resource to you now or in the future, whenever it is the right time for you. So at this time, I'd like to welcome back and turn the webinar over to our presenters, Ellen and Michelle, who will share a little bit about themselves and get started with the presentation. So Michelle, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you all for coming. This is going to be one of your many holiday parties. So we invite you to relax as we explore gratitude and what it means and how to practice it. Go ahead, Ellen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Ellen Platt. I am a geriatric care manager with the Option Group, and a lot of what we do with the families that we're working with is trying to find out ways to look at wellness and keep people well and be proactive. And one big part of that is gratitude. So we're going to talk a lot today about some ideas or strategies or shifting our mindset and figuring out how we can just pause and have a little bit of appreciation for our circumstances, even though sometimes we feel like they may not be where we want them to be. So thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. And I'm Michelle Fritsch. I'm a clinical pharmacist. Geriatrics is my focus. But in particular, I find that a lot of people struggle with that transition from the end of their primary career to retirement. And there are preventative things that can be done to keep them healthy, active, and gratitude is one of those practices. And then Ellen and I together have created Propel, which is designed to be before the day of retirement to help people avoid crisis and really have a solid plan for how they're going to stay healthy and engaged. So we'll tell you more about that in a bit. So as we jump into gratitude, we'd love to hear what got your curiosity? Why did you choose to join us today? And that way we can make sure that those are things that we address today.
And the microphones are open, so feel free to just blurt it out to share it, or if you're more comfortable putting it in the chat, feel free to do that. I try to make gratitude as part of my daily practice, just in the morning, kind of being thankful for being on the upside of the earth and knowing that there's a purpose and something ahead of me for the day. But I always like to incorporate a little bit of gratitude in my morning to start.
I like that, and I find it helpful at the end of the day. I guess a list person, and one of the things that can pop in my head that makes it hard to sleep is all the things I did not get done that have to carry over to the next day's list. So gratitude is a helpful way to realize what did get done. What are all the great things that did happen, so I don't focus on the negative. I have a sidebar question
We
for
have,
everybody that's here. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Michelle, we have somebody that says curiosity and mind expansion.
Oh, I like that. For those that are here, do you find this to be a happy, joyful time of year or a difficult time of year? Because we know that both of those things are reality for so many people.
We have somebody that says, I'm a CRC and wellness health coach. I love to learn more about the topic. Okay, and then somebody says, mixed, some of both, as far as your most recent comment.
Right.
Question.
I would imagine that's true for most people, a little of both. Well, feel free to interact with us at any and every time as we go through this, because this is all about you and all of us kind of preparing for and being in the holidays. So let's do a little exercise. Where you're sitting, kind of get comfortable. Look around and find something special. And just take a minute to think about why is that thing special and how can you be grateful for that thing, either the memories it brings up, the way you acquired it, or whatever thoughts you have about that special thing. Does anybody have a story they want to share?
We have a few here. Not a question, just a comment. My son, who is 35 years old and has mild cerebral palsy, is the happiest person I know. He notices every little thing that happens to him throughout the day and appreciates every little part of his life. He has lived in the community with lots of family support for the last 6.5 years. He is my role model.
That is beautiful.
And we have one of our good friends here, Joe Sperling from Joe Sperling Insurance, saying the American flag presented to me at my father's funeral.
Mm. It's a powerful thing. So let's walk through why gratitude? Why are we talking about this and spending an entire session of our wellness series on this? And we've got a lot of things actually to share with you here. One is better sleep. Ellen, you talked about when you wake up in the morning and gratitude. Do you find that it impacts sleep to have that grateful sort of focus?
Yeah, I do. Waking up in the morning, I'm an early riser, so it's a quiet time of day for me. And there's all the noise that's out there is usually just quiet. Like I haven't started my day. I haven't checked the computer yet. The phone's not ringing. So that's my time to just kind of reflect, be thankful for the day before, thankful, for things that are happening, and just expressing that gratitude, because there's a lot of physiological benefits of doing that. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I'm sure, like you, Michelle, being grateful in the evenings probably is a nice way to wrap up your day and then start quieting down your day for the evening.
Right. I've got to realize what was accomplished rather than too much focus on what didn't quite get done. Related to that, a really simple gratitude exercise is whether you want to do it as you're getting into bed or getting out of bed, you have a bed. What is there about your particular bed, blankets, pillow, bedroom that could be a source of gratitude?
An example of that, I have a friend who used to get stuck in airports all the time, and many times had slept on the chairs in the airport. And when he can't go to sleep, what he thinks to himself is, I'm not in the airport. I've got this bed. It's nice and warm. It's nice and soft. It's in my home. And just start thinking of all these little things about that bed that really made it extra special, and how it's easy to sleep there, and you don't have people walking through the airport next to you, and you just think about that if you've never put yourself in another situation where it was not as comfortable, and then you start practicing gratitude for having the one that you prefer.
I can't imagine sleeping in an airport. I've tried it twice and I had no success. Also, I was on a mission trip to Jamaica, and a young man who was very helpful to our team, a house was built for him, and the team offered to go get his bed, and he said, I've never had a bed. This man was in his 20s. And so a bed was built for him, and mattresses are big hunks of like styrofoam foam. And so it's really made me, that was a wonderful gift to get that bed. And here we've got our sleep numbers and our Sertas and our whatever. It's just very much a perspective builder to think about that.
I have a comment from somebody going back to looking at something that means a great deal to you. Looking at a statue of Christ that my sister got when she retired from Johns Hopkins after 52 years, and is now hers, since she passed away.
Nice.
So many memories and good thoughts wrapped up in that, no doubt. What about our overall health? It's amazing that expressing gratitude impacts all sorts of things in our health: our blood pressure, our mental health, our emotions, our blood sugar, our weight, so many things. One, did you realize that? And it seems like such a simple exercise that can have so much big benefit.
They've done a lot of studies when people are practicing gratitude and mindfulness and meditation. When they compare an MRI of the brain before and during meditation, you actually see physiological changes in the brain. It's pretty amazing. Our neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin kick in, and those are our wellness neurotransmitters, and it helps regulate our emotions. So it also decreases anxiety, decreases stress, and we all know that that's good for us in so many ways.
Yeah, as we prepared for this, I honestly didn't realize all the many benefits of kind of calming things down and think about what can I be grateful for in this moment. Have you run into those people who say, how are you? And they're like, I'm fabulous. I woke up today. I don't know that we can all say that every day, that we're quite that happy-go-lucky. But what about the fact that we're here? Another day has presented itself to us with new possibilities and new things that could happen.
Gives us a sense of optimism and hope.
Yeah, we have somebody that says, despite leg injuries which have healed and shoulder concerns, rotator cuff, general good health is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's great to wake up, and it says it's great to wake up and the first thing to hit the floor is feet rather than the head.
I like that. Now, Ellen and Jeff, we talked about this a little bit before we started. Does gratitude mean that you're happy-go-lucky, happy all the time?
Nope.
Nope.
But it sometimes shifts our perspective, or maybe it gets us into the present moment, or gives us the ability, like we talked about, to decrease anxiety and stress, and lets us kind of rethink or reshift our focus to something more positive.
Absolutely. All right, who's guilty of this? Especially when the stress levels rise, the fuse gets shorter. Things that wouldn't even bother you normally, can just set you off. Expressions of gratitude and kind of focusing on the positive lengthens your fuse, lets you be around a lot more things before you feel like you're going to lose your cool or get upset. Anybody have any examples of that?
Somebody that says, no, good times and things are made better because of contrast with bad things.
Good point. Something we can all relate to that kind of reminds me of toddlers, especially this time of year. As I remember taking toddlers shopping and they didn't get their nap and they didn't eat enough for lunch and they're getting sleepy and cranky and tired, and like one last thing is the straw that breaks the camel's back, and you got a full out meltdown in the middle of Walmart or wherever you are. I think as adults we can do that too. We can neglect the self-care, we can be working through that to-do list, we've got to get all of the shopping done or whatever we're doing, get the meals prepared, and little tiny things can be that last thing that sets us off. And so if we spend our day and we remember with gratitude, what are the good things while the line in the store is extra long or somebody just cut us off again on the road? Does that sound feasible that we could kind of work this in on those crazy days?
Yeah. Somebody that says, sometimes I'm guilty of saying, I have one nerve left and you are getting on it. I will try to refocus before I say that in the future. Somebody else says, it seems age and more experiences have helped minimize short fuse problems.
Yeah, back to perspective. It's a good point.
I found that as I've gotten older, my temper has gone away sometimes. Overall, my temper is gone away. I've never had a bad temper, but I seem to gained a better perspective on things, except when it comes to soccer referees for my kids' soccer games. But that's gotten better, a lot better too. But, yeah.
Okay. Another way to think about this is, are you able to bite your tongue? Are you able to hold it back?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about social connections? How can gratitude be related to better social connections?
Well, they have found that gratitude increases energy and health and decreases stress, and it allows you to be interactive with people, be more social. You have the energy to do it. You are enjoying it, so it's something that's fulfilling and social. And that we know social connections also make us happier overall.
I'll use a personal example of what not to do, because I wish I had done this differently, but I was invited to a holiday party and was very excited to go. And I walked into the holiday party and I could see the hostess, who was very dressed up. And I was in blue jeans. And I had that moment of such deep insecurity that I turned around and left and didn't stay at the party. And I heard later how much fun everyone had, and that only the hostess was dressed up, and she was dressed up because it just made her happy and feel good. And I just regretted that I let that insecurity stop me from doing something that really would have been enjoyable, and nobody would have cared that I was in jeans, because most of them were as well. Has anyone ever done anything quite that lame? It might be just me.
Yeah, when I was younger, I would have networking events to go to sometimes when I worked at a bank, and I would sometimes be so insecure it would take a long time for me to even walk in the door, because was so introverted. So it took a lot for me to get out there and be social.
Yeah.
We have a couple comments that as we get older, it takes more to reach the tipping points. We are, after all, social creatures, and important to be comfortable in your own skin. And then don't let what you're wearing define you or stop you from smiling and being social.
Exactly. And that's where the gratitude comes in. I was invited to a party. There were people that I could be with. I could have so easily reframed the whole thing and had a very different outcome.
I was just going to give an example of reframing the example that Jeff gave us. Instead of saying, I have to go to this networking thing, change one word. I get to go to this networking thing.
Exactly.
I get to go. I have a job. I have a purpose. People are counting on me to be able to go there and make connections.
Right.
And I might even make a friend out of it, but it gives me an opportunity to just meet some new people. And so it's kind of changing that, I have to, hey, I get to.
Right. That's exactly right.
That's a great way to think about it. So now we have an exercise. Think about the person that you call best friend. And this might be best friend from high school. This might be best friend right now. Doesn't have to be a person even that's currently active in your life. But what was the great part about this best friend that comes to mind? What can you be grateful about that person and the times you had together? Anybody have a great best friend story?
Somebody says it's shared interest and good sense of humor. I'll just say in a couple sentences, I had a best friends growing up that I appreciated our relationship because he was probably the most popular kid in high school, and I was not the most popular kid in high school, though, I had a lot of friends, but what I valued about our friendship was he could always be himself around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though he was like the most popular kid, he kind of always had to like be on, around everybody because he was the most popular kid. But when he was with me, I could tell he could always just be himself around me, and he felt good about our friendship because of that. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
What a gift.
Yeah. So it was always good friendship. I ran into him about 4 years ago, and after not seeing him for over 20 years, and we just kind of picked up where we left off. Though I haven't seen him since, unfortunately, but it was good to see him.
I was laughing with a friend recently about all the misguided choices we made, but very fun times. One little example was, today we know the value of sunscreen. Now we did baby oil and these weird reflectors to try to get suntans, and she is as fair skinned as they come, so it was always a disaster, but we kept doing it.
I have somebody that says we call ourselves the Golden Girls ever since we were in our 20s.
I love that. What about
we have going back just a little bit, have somebody that says, I finally joined a group at church and I'm very grateful I did because I feel like I have a purpose now. So that's an interesting comment because it kind of ties a couple of our topics from our series here together.
Very much so. What about mental health and strength and the role of gratitude? Ellen, you were talking about neurotransmitters. Will you share that again?
Yeah, so there are two big neurotransmitters that our brain will release, dopamine and serotonin, and those are our feel-good chemicals that go through our body, and it also controls our emotions. So when we're having those happy thoughts or having those thoughts of gratitude, and instead of I have to and I get to, we get more of those neurotransmitters in our body and our brain, which then gives us all those other positive aspects of what we get from gratitude, which is being calmer, being more positive, hopeful, self-esteem is better, we feel more outgoing, we feel more calm inside, more in control of what's going on around us. Just gives us that opportunity to kind of regain a little bit of control on all kinds of crazy things that we can't even control around us.
This goes back to the whole gratitude does not mean happy. I'm thinking of some really dire situations. Terrible things are happening. And to reframe to the gratitude, this terrible thing happened, but no one died. This terrible thing happened, but we're going to be able to recover from it. There are ways to find the gratitude even in really dark times to give you that mental strength to keep going.
Especially this time of year, could be an anniversary for somebody that's lost a loved one, so it's really hard to go through the holidays, but thinking of it in terms of gratitude for the memories and the time with that person, and that you were able to create those positive memories that you now miss. But it's the finding kind of the old saying, if you have lemons, make lemonade. It's like trying to reframe it in your mind and thinking about what you're grateful for about that scenario, even though it might not be exactly how you want it to be.
Jeff, any stories or comments anyone sharing?
I don't see anything new over the past couple minutes here.
Okay.
Check here.
So think about a time that you overcame something. Boy, it looked like this barrier was going to be the one that stopped you. Maybe you had trouble getting the job you wanted. Maybe a relationship was in trouble. Maybe you had a medical setback. think about something that, boy, you thought this is going to be it. And that's now something in the past. You overcame that and kept going. Can anybody think of a story like that and then have some gratitude that, woof, I did get through that? Ellen, I'm thinking about the stress you were under when you hired your first person. That seems so long ago now. You got such a big, robust team. But I remember at the time that was a huge decision.
Yeah, it was a huge decision. Very, I had a lot of angst over that decision. Is it a good one? Should I be doing this? And it enabled me to do more. And I've grown my company. We've gotten up to 16 people now. But
That's
each
incredible.
person gives me the ability to do something more.
Right. What about self-esteem? This is one of those measurable things that has been shown that when people practice gratitude, it actually increases their self-esteem. And I'm just thinking of many stories in my head, but somebody else share stories for a little bit. Okay, I'll put one out there. I'm thinking of people that I've been able to interact, like patients in this lifetime who lost a spouse and lost themselves in the process. Like they didn't know how to define themselves without their spouse. And when we were able to kind of reframe things during that healing process, and there was gratitude for that time with the spouse, but also gratitude for the possibilities that now were available in their life. Maybe they'd been caring for that spouse and not been able to go out and do very much, and now they could get involved in new and different things. Their self-esteem sort of went with that. They were able to almost recreate who they were for the next phase of their life. Can anybody relate to that?
Let's see here. We do have actually a few comments here. They've actually somehow gone out of order in my chat here, which I apologize for. They typically go from first to last, and they've gotten a little bit mixed up here. Let's see here. Let's see. So let me try to go back just a little bit, if that's okay. I don't want to try to miss anything here. Says, most definitely I got through an abusive marriage and gratitude was my only strength. Now I go through a lot of emotions about how I let myself go through it for so long. I didn't want to regret it, as I thought it would weaken my strength. And let's see here.
That's a big overcome and self-esteem story.
Yeah.
Makes more resilient and ability to deal with adversity better.
Yeah. It says, hi, I'm calling in from London, England. My connection is not great on this positive neuro reactions. At some point in my life, gratitude saved my mental life, but I also understand now that it was masking a lot of other emotions I did not want to deal with. I now know how to allow regret and disappointment in at the same time as having gratitude.
That's really important when it comes to processing some of those deeper issues, is kind of leaning in and feeling that pain, but realizing what else you're grateful for that surrounds that circumstance.
And thank you for joining us from London.
Yes. Making sure I didn't miss anything else.
While you're looking, everybody think about what's the best compliment you've ever been given, and how did that make you feel? Remember, your microphones are on, so feel free to get on and tell us your story.
Yes, please do.
So Ellen, what's your best compliment you've received?
I was just thinking about the compliment we got at the beginning when we were on before we came, and Jeff, shared that the series has meant something to somebody very important to him. And it was just so nice to hear that, these webinars are helpful for people and, help give people other perspectives on wellness overall.
Absolutely.
If somebody that just says, I love this, leaning into it.
Good.
Take that as a compliment. Helping someone through a tough time makes it easier to repeat. Don't think that's a.
Yeah.
Adult daughter telling me I was a good dad when she was a child.
Those are the ones you really want to keep.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here.
We've been talking about.
I would say my biggest compliment I've received that I can remember is my daughter a short while ago telling me that she appreciated me because she always knew that I believed in her. That was something that has always stuck with me for a long time. Kind of made my legs a little weak.
That's awesome. Yeah. So think about it, as we're in the holiday season here, it's a good time to kind of reflect and think about, what we're thankful for. And, we kicked it off with Thanksgiving and just going through to the end of the year, thinking about maybe a person in particular that was a big part of your life, was very important to you. And I'm going to challenge everybody to pick up a pen and paper and write them a note and say what it was that you were thankful for, how they made a difference in your life, what you learned from them. There are tons of people in our lives that have touched us in some way, and writing a letter and sending it to them is something that is very empowering for you. But imagine what it does to that person, because they may not even realize that they had that kind of impact on you. And I'm going to say that if that person is no longer living, write it anyway, and you can keep it. It still is as empowering for you, and it puts you in that mindset. It gives you those neurotransmitters, all those things that we talked about, but it's getting it down on paper and the act of writing it. And I challenge everybody to pick a few people if you have time over the holidays and write that letter. And if the person is living, mail it to them.
Even if they're not, I bet their kids would love to receive that and know what an impact their parent made on someone. Kind of along those lines, we've talked about the benefits of gratitude. So how do you express gratitude? There are so many ways. And I know this is one of Ellen's favorites, is journaling.
Yep.
And journaling doesn't have to be perfect grammar and punctuation and full sentences or paragraphs. It's just a way to kind of grab some ideas and put them down. You're the only one, or even you don't necessarily have to remember what it meant when you go back and look later, but it's just a way to express some thoughts.
There's somebody that says the best compliment I had was from my son. He said, I don't hold any grudges. I love even those I don't like. I don't like to be told I am strong and resilient. That one, though, went straight to my heart.
Well, I bet it did.
Yep, and gratitude could be written down, or it could be actions that you take to show the gratitude. Doing something nice for somebody, a random act of kindness, helping somebody who once helped you. So there's ways that you can put it into action that allows it to carry on and become a bigger part of your life. You're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. Another way to express gratitude is a gratitude walk. And that can be that you're looking around and expressing gratitude but for the beauty and the clouds and the sun. But it can also just be a time to let your mind wander and think about those things for which you are grateful.
Along those same lines, I had somebody say earlier, nothing better as a very early riser watching the sun rise. I'll second that. When I go on vacation, I wake up early and go watch the sunrise on the beach. That's probably one of the most powerful things that I can do for myself. That's something that always just sticks with me for a long time. I'd like to start every day like that.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
What about gratitude reflection? Ellen has led us through so many different sorts of breathing exercises, ways to really calm our brain. What if while doing some of those, you were thinking specifically about those things for which you're grateful? And another one is a gratitude jar. I was reading about someone who has a jar. They keep it, from what I could tell, either right outside their bedroom or in their bedroom. And before they go to bed at night, they write out for those things for which they're grateful, and they put it in the jar. So they've kind of safely tucked it away for the day.
I know a family that would do that and have the kids participate, and the kids would also write something they were thankful for, and then over the weekend at a meal they would go through what they were all thankful for the week, and they could talk about their stories and their highs and their lows and things like that.
I love that idea.
Yeah, great way to incorporate the kids.
we have a family tradition of this book that we take at Thanksgiving, and everyone rolls a dice, and how whatever number it lands on, they express that many things that they're grateful for. And we've kept this over the years. And at Thanksgiving, we were looking back at it and laughing. And one of the things that our older child was grateful for was when the baby stopped eating toilet paper. It's like, that is something to be grateful for, yes.
Simple pleasures.
Exactly. Before we wrap up, just is there anything else anybody wants to share, either ways they like to express gratitude or thoughts that have come to mind as we've talked about these things?
I wish I was an attendee and not a moderator, so I could anonymously share more.
I understand that. Maybe without divulging details, can you just give us an idea of, was there anything here that you can take away that's going to expand the ways that you'll think about gratitude? Just like a yes, no?
We have something here that says it helps to take a few moments of quiet, light a scented candle and sit in a comfortable chair, close eyes, and just think.
Especially this time of year.
A lot of times it is just quieting the noise so that you can reflect on it.
And that is something we've talked about in other sessions, is that when the stressed out part of the brain is doing the thinking, you really can't calm things down and think about gratitude. So it's kind of purposefully calming that noise is one of the key elements of reaching that point of gratitude. Well, we're grateful that you are here, and Ellen and I want to invite you to a webinar next Thursday, the 29th at 11 in the morning. And Jeff, we'll make sure you have this link if
Yes.
anyone would like to register for that. But one of the reasons we do what we do is we've found that some of these important health planning elements get left out. And as a result, people retire and then see these rapid health declines. And we know that they are preventable. So if you want to know what we have found to be the 7 key areas that are often missed, join us in our webinar. It's free. We'd love to see you there. And then just a reminder that Propel is powerful retirement options for a purpose-filled, engaged life. It's a little bit of information each month in a subscription format that helps you pull together just a really solid strategic plan for making sure that you've just thought through all of these really important things that will allow you to stay fully engaged in life, fully functional for long periods of time. And we have a holiday special. Jeff, I'll send you that as well, where people can get over 60% off for the first year. Just come and check it out. See if this is some of the information you need to make sure that you are in it at holiday table for years and years and years to come. So as always, we're grateful. Thank you for inviting us, Jeff.
Oh, well, it's easiest decision I make every month. Thank you, as I always say. Thank you very much, Michelle and Ellen. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your partnership for this entire year, and look forward to next year as well. So thank you to our attendees for being part of our webinar today. Whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it's a great one. And appreciate you being part of our wellness series and our Elville webinar series throughout this year. It's been great. I always enjoy moderating these webinars. It's one of my favorite parts of my many things I do here at Elville and Associates. So I will, as follow-up, as I always try to do, I'll send out an email with the information that Ellen and Michelle just shared here. I'll send out the video from today along with the presentation slides again. As far as our webinar series goes, we're going to take a little break for the holidays, and then we will be back and better than ever going into 2023. We'll start off on January 11th talking about Maryland ABLE accounts. If you don't know what an ABLE account is, it stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience, for understanding Maryland ABLE accounts and how they benefit your loved one with special needs. We have a special guest, Kelly Nelson of Maryland ABLE. She always does a great job. We have her come speak with us at least once a year. And then January 17th is our wellness series. We're going to be talking about relationship changes in retirement. So that should be an intriguing discussion with Ellen and Michelle. And then on the 23rd, if you're always saying, Jeff, why don't you offer more evening discussions? We're going to have an estate planning discussion, estate planning essentials on January 23rd at 7 in the evening, if you want to join us. And that should start off our January. 2023 will be here before we know it. So with all that said, thank you again, Michelle and Ellen, and thank you to everybody here, and look forward to seeing you in 2023. And thank you for being part of Elville and Associates. We'll see you again soon.